We need to redefine masculinity. We need to redefine strength. We need to redefine what it means to be tough, how we show toughness. Hey there, super friends, it's a Super Psych here, back with another video. Today we have another video that's a little more on the serious side, and I really thought that this was more appropriate to do in light of recent events down in Florida. It's been something I've been debating about for quite a while, talking about this issue because it's quite sensitive, and it's that issue of gun control. So first and foremost, I want to start off with a disclaimer. So yes, I am a pistol owner. I enjoy pistols, I enjoy shooting them immensely, I enjoy the skill, I enjoy the challenge of that skill, and I have no intention of getting rid of my pistols at any point in time soon. But I do have to say that I'm not one of these really staunch Second Amendment supporters, and that's not above and beyond everything else. So I'm not going to say, hey, guns before the safety of my family. The reason why I own guns is for my protection, for the protection of my family. But what I care about the most is the protection of myself and my family, of our children, of the people in this country. And so my goal ultimately at my core is to protect this country, protect our society. And whatever it may be, whatever may be the solutions that we need to come up with to do that, I am going to be supportive. But I'm just going to throw it out there. I do own guns, I enjoy guns, I would love to keep my guns, I prefer to keep my guns, but at the same time, I care about protecting this country. So now that that's out of the way, let's begin our discussion. So most often I hear two phrases from each side, the anti-gun side and the pro-gun side. From the anti-gun side, I hear guns kill people. And from the pro-gun side, I hear people kill people. The truth is that the truth lies somewhere in the middle. People with guns kill people. And that's not an opinion, that's not my opinion, that's actually an empirical statement. If you look at the rates of death in violent acts that do not involve a gun, there's a significant disparity between the times when people die without guns and when they die with guns. If we look at this, we can see that 0.009%, right around that percent, 0.009%. Think about how small that is. That's less than 100% of times when people are assaulted without a gun involved do they die. Whereas when a gun is involved, 17.1% of times do those individuals die. So that's a pretty significant disparity when we look at the number of deaths that occur in violent acts in America when a gun is used and when a gun is not used. So that's something let's lay that to rest. That's not something that we're even debating. We're not even talking about there. It's not a debate. That's just a simple fact, is that people are more likely to die when a gun is involved in a violent act, and that just makes sense, right? The thing that's really interesting to me though about this conversation when we talk about gun violence is that the vast majority of gun violence and gun deaths occur in the context of suicide. So right around each year, 60% of gun-related deaths are related to suicide. And yet I don't hear this issue being brought up when we're talking about gun control and safety and dealing with guns. Because if we really want to put a dent in gun deaths, well, we should be targeting suicide then. I'm just let that sink in for a little bit. That's important. And so it seems to me disingenuous when I hear people say, well, we need to focus on mental health. We need to have mental health screenings for each person who wants to get a gun, when you don't even address the issue of suicides and the fact that most of these gun deaths are going to be related to suicides. It doesn't make me think that you actually care about mental health, and it's a good chance that you don't. Let's just be real. Let's just be honest. It's just that we're trying to find a scapegoat for what we think is causing these mass shootings. And I'm here to tell you, unfortunately, that mental health is not the cause for these mass shootings. And so if we are going to focus on mental health as the issue that needs to be addressed, we need to talk about suicide. We don't need to be talking about mass shootings. Statistically speaking, we know that only around 5% of the individuals who have engaged in mass shootings have had a diagnosable mental health condition. 5%. That means 95% of those individuals did not have a mental health condition or disorder or diagnosis. So what does that mean for us? What does that mean for you? It means that it makes us uncomfortable, right? I think that the real reason that this myth is perpetuated is that it's hard for us to understand how someone of sound mind and sound body could enact such atrocities as a shooting that occurred in Parkland, Florida recently, as a shooting that Stephen Paddock carried out in Las Vegas relatively recently. It's hard for us to understand how that's the case. Somebody who has no significant emotional turmoil and no mental health condition, how a person just like you could do this. But statistically speaking, we know that's more likely to be the case than not. I think the hardest truth is to accept that there are really bad people in this world. There are really evil people in this world, and it's not mental health conditions that drive these types of acts. I'm not saying that mental health, that we as psychologists can't do something in this process to help out, to help with screening, to help with assessment, help with treatment. We definitely can, but that is not the solution. But I do think that enacting some type of mental health policy related to gun purchasing would help. It wouldn't help with the mass shootings, truthfully, because if 5% of the people who are conducting mass shootings are people diagnosed with a mental health condition or diagnosable with a mental health condition, then we're only going to be impacting that 5%. What we will be impacting potentially is the number of suicides that are occurring related to gun violence. And that, to me, that's a good reason to enact some type of policy related to mental health in this case. So I told you before that I am not going to solve this problem right here. I'm not going to solve this problem, but I'm going to start leading us down the path, okay? Because if we really want to deal with this and solve this problem, we need to start looking at this problem holistically. We need to look at it not just when it comes to mass shootings. We need to not look at it just when it comes to school shootings. We need to look at the problem from a whole perspective, because if we look at it from just one part, we're going to miss a lot of things that are important. First and foremost, we need to look at the fact that the vast majority of violence carried out in this country is carried out at the hands of men. That's a fact, and we need to look at that. We need to look at the fact that men are the main perpetrators of gun violence. That is a fact. We need to look at the fact that young African American males in urban environments are disproportionately victims of gun violence. A fact. We need to look at the fact that Caucasian males are the primary people who perpetrate these mass shootings. We need to look at this from a holistic perspective. We can't just look at it from a policy perspective. We need to look at it from a societal, cultural perspective, a community perspective, as well as that individual perspective. We need to look at how we are raising our men. So not only do we need to enact some policies, but we need to start creating a new world, a new culture. We need to create a paradigm shift of how we raise our young men. We need to start teaching them how to be men. There's something that's getting lost in translation. We need to redefine masculinity. We need to redefine strength. We need to redefine what it means to be tough, how we show toughness. And this starts in the home. It starts with you, fathers. What are you modeling? What are you demonstrating to your young men? How are you showing them how you're dealing with frustration, anger, grief, pain? What are you demonstrating for them? Because what you model is what they learn and what they carry out. If you're modeling violence, if you're modeling, throwing things and breaking things, you are starting it. One of the best predictors that we know of future violence, like gun violence, is violence in the home or violence enacted to these young men. So if you punch your son in the face when you're angry, or your wife, or your child, that's what they learn. And that's what they're going to do when they grow up. But ultimately, we need a paradigm shift in this culture, as a culture, of what it means to be a man. And I have a whole other diatribe that'll come at another time for the problem with how we're raising our men in society. But I'm telling you right now that that is the problem. We aren't even touching on it when we talk about mental health as is an issue, as what we need to screen for. We're not even touching on the underlying problem. We need to do a better job of raising our young men. I am thankful that you're here, you're listening to this, because this is a start. It starts with you. It starts with us. And hopefully we can heal together as a country. And hopefully we can live stronger, love stronger, and grow stronger together. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel if this is your first time here. Thank you.